small chance, no. Airdrop on the way for select holders. Oh, man.
March 24th, 2022, Department of Justice releases a document talking about their investigation into some NFT scammers. Today's video, we're going to be looking at the immediate and, in my opinion, hilarious impact that's had on NFT scams in the US. It's only been a week or so, and people are already going crazy. So if you're not aware of that
I bet they are.
Essentially, 4 arms of the US federal government investigated and arrested 2 individuals who'd rug pulled $1.1 million from their NFT investment project.
Yeah, we saw this one.
There's a ton of really important information you can glean from the quotes that the heads of the investigation give, as well as the affidavit signed by one of the lead investigators. They go through all the process of how they caught these people and just how easy it is for them. The biggest piece of information relevant to today's video...
Well, they don't even try to hide their tracks because nobody was ever getting caught, so there's no reason for them to expect they'd get in trouble.
...is that the federal government see NFT projects no different from other investments like real estate. If you tell people that you will do X, Y, or Z and then you do not deliver, you are committing wire fraud, and that is a felony that can carry a maximum sentence of 20 years in jail.
That's a long
fucking time. It shows they are looking at these projects, and my takeaway is that this is the beginning of what will be many, many more similar arrests. So I will suggest you go watch that video. It's really good, really in-depth.
I said this before, man. I think that I will believe it when I see it. Like, I'm not gonna go head over heels celebrating whenever 2 20-year-old dipshits get in trouble. I'm gonna celebrate. I'm gonna say this is a good thing whenever content creators and actual rich, influential people that are pushing these things, they are the ones that get in trouble. Like, that's what I want. Like, until that happens, then all this isn't real.
And it will be in the video description.
Yeah, watch it. Yeah, I did watch it.
When I released that, in the comment section and also reactions, had doubts that these arrests would be meaningful or that they'd change anything. And also questions were raised about why the government were not investigating and arresting these rich influencers, the sports stars, you know, people with huge social media followings that are engaging in these activities or similar, and instead, you know, targeting 2 nobodies that didn't even perform the biggest scam.
That's exactly what I was saying. That is exactly what I was fucking saying. Yep, there you go.
In comparison to some of the others. So I wanted to make this video to talk about that, as well as what people need to do for these scams to actually be punished, because you have a role in this. It's not just going to happen on its own. And of course, to show that these arrests are already having the intended effect on some scammers, and of course it'll no doubt make a difference.
Well, it's a deterrent, because if you see somebody else get in trouble, you're going to be less likely to do it. It's kind of like botting in WoW. Like, I considered botting in Mists of Pandaria because nobody else was getting banned. And at a certain point, is this really a rule if nobody gets in trouble for it?
Going forward, first things first, I've been in contact
They're building
with
case law against someone who doesn't millions from lawyers. That's smart.
In
I
the
like
US
that. That's
on
good
a federal
insight.
level, and the information I'd like to pass on from these sources is as follows. They are and will continue to investigate these cases. They, however, do need you to report them with as much information as you possibly can. You can do this by going to the ic3.gov website and filing a complaint if you are a victim or a third party with pertinent information. You should always file a report as well at your local police department. You need to save all information that you can about the alleged fraud, including screenshots of wallets you sent funds to, any methods of communication, including screen names, emails, which social media platforms were used, and of course identifiable information such as phone numbers, addresses, names, etc. The sooner you do these things, the easier it's going to be for them to follow up and investigate. These things are time sensitive.
The problem is, like, a lot of people don't want to do that because
you need to do.
Sorry, problem. A lot of people don't want to do it because they're lazy, right? Like, they don't want to put in a bunch of time for that because, like, they want to do something else with their time. So it's like, yeah, if you do have time for that, that's what I would do. Is like, if you think something's a scam like that, absolutely report it.
Your part, you need to report it, and things will happen. Now, as for influencers, I can't answer why these influencers who we're seeing publicly engage in these practices are not the ones being punished first, front and center. I believe that if they were, this would set a bigger example than the smaller fish that aren't using their audiences to perpetuate what I'd consider fraud. I can only speculate at this stage, as can everybody else. I do know that many influencers are not the ones making the projects in many instances. They are instead just promoting them for money under the table. And
this is what happened with, like, the ICE thing, for example. example is like ICE didn't make the crypto. Like, he didn't do the thing. Like, he basically had somebody else do everything, and he was just the one promoting it. And I think that's usually what happens, is like these people are the ones promoting it. So are they really it's like, are you promoting something that, like, it's a much more gray area. So like somebody in chat actually mentioned this, and I think it's a really good point, is that they could be trying to build case law, because so much of like the legal system is built around precedent this, precedent that. It's like, well, there's a precedent for this happening in this legal case, so the same thing should happen in this legal case also. And they said that maybe what they're doing is they're arresting these nobodies because the nobodies don't have a lot of money to defend themselves, so they can set precedents to go against the people that are more well-known who have money to defend themselves. So actually, that's a really, really good insight. I had never thought of that.
Undisclosed advertisements.
That's probably it.
This is, of course, in my opinion, still aberrant to do. They're using their audience, selling them down the river just to make personal gain. Wow.
Well, it's also a lot of people, like a lot of content creators don't know. It's kind of like the Reflect thing with Valkyrae. I feel like Valkyrae probably doesn't know, like, she doesn't know shit about it. Like, she's not a scientist. She doesn't know what the fuck, like, blue light, like any of this. She has no fucking idea what she's talking about. And so, like, big surprise, it comes out and, like, it's disliked, and that's it. And ignorance is not a valid defense. Well, we're not in a court of law. Right, like we're not. I'm not the judge here, right? I am the judge, but like at the same time, like it doesn't really make a difference. So, like what I'm saying is that ignorance of something, I think, in some cases, is a defense. By the way, it definitely is a defense. But like another example is just that if you do something like this and you don't know what you're doing, a lot of people just buy into it. It's still not. Often, ignorance isn't a defense. Okay. So, of course, it's a defense. So, if you are carrying drugs and you get a taxi and the taxi person drives you somewhere and you get arrested for carrying the drugs, does the taxi driver get arrested for trafficking drugs? No, they don't. Why? It's because they were ignorant. It's literally not that simple. It depends. Yes. If they know, etc. Yes, it's a bad example. Loophole boys, it's not the same. Ignorance of defense only applies to ignorance of the law, and not knowing things are illegal. They won't be arrested. Good analogy, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. Valk doubled down many times. Why are people? Why is your chat dumb? Because they think that they're like, ignorance is absolutely a defense in many regards. Like it's absolutely a defense in many regards. Like it 100% is. Like no, it's not. Yes, it is. I mean, not legally. Yes, it is. Absolutely. You have the wrong wording. What I'm saying is that like somebody can be used for an accessory to a crime and not know about it, and they will probably not get charged because they don't know it's happening if they're acting in good faith. This is not going to happen. This is the same thing with like pawn shops, with banks, etc. They don't get charged as accessories to crime. It's about intent. People are saying, one example, if I broke the law, I never read the law book, so I go free. Well, yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, there's plausible deniability, there's intent, there's being an accessory to a crime. There's just so much more to it. You're right, it's all based on totality of circumstances, exactly. In general, there's no requirement of someone to know what they're doing to be illegal in order for it to be convicted of a crime. In general, yes, but I'm not talking about in general. I'm saying in this case, I think that what happens in many regards is that these people get taken advantage of. They get told that something is true and that something is legitimate, and it turns out that it's not. They don't have the tools. They should have had the tools, but they don't have the tools, and they make a bad decision to promote it anyway without fully understanding what the intent is behind it. And because of that, it makes them look bad. Yeah, and that's all there is to it. And it wouldn't work. I didn't know that I couldn't do heroin on me. Yeah, even if she's sponsored doesn't mean that she knew about the product's ineffectiveness. Exactly. Like, yeah, I'm just talking realistically. A lot of times, sourcing prop you don't even know about and do no research about it is your problem. It is, but that happens all the time. Like, it happens all the time. And, like, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying this happens constantly. That's all. Fraud requires intent. And law school one-on-one. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that just don't. They don't get it. Here we go. People just want to say the opposite of you? It seems that way. Let's watch the rest of the video.
While being multimillionaires, which is the part that always confuses me. Why are you risking this while you are rich? But that is not the same as making the project from day one and knowing your end goal is to defraud investors. I do know that promoting something you know is a fraud is punishable. We have an example of that already from another one of my recent videos on the $2.4 billion Ponzi scheme called BitConnect, where the feds did punish a promoter of the company who earned $20-odd million in doing so. However, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how serious of an offense it would be.
You probably knew what was happening. Probably knew what was going on.
Investment schemes in the US, especially if you don't know they're going to be scams, and what happens when they turn out to be one and you're actually paid behind the scenes. And I don't know if you're actually going to go to jail if you do undisclosed advertisements. I know it's against the FTC guidelines.
Well, it's like you get fined. Here's really what happens, right? Is that like, this is my understanding, is that you get fined, and if you do it regularly and you keep doing it over and over and over, then yes, probably you would go to jail. But like you get fined, and if you don't pay the fine, then you go to jail. So it's like yes, but not directly.
But I would like to see some examples of what's going on here. And if you are a lawyer who knows anything about this and can provide background on how you came to that information with sources and things like that, that I can, of course, verify, feel free to DM me on any socials so I can better understand what's going to be going on in the future, and I can then further inform people on a wider scale. There are, of course, influencers that have directly been involved in the creation of these projects and then the subsequent advertisement using their platforms. And I can't, again, speculate as to why these aren't the ones being arrested and put in front and center. But, again, you do need to send the information to the proper authorities through the proper channels, and maybe we will see it happen. If you're not doing that as someone who has been scammed, you are not contributing what you should be to seeing them punished. I do know as well that case law and precedent is a big factor.
Because here's the thing, right? Is like as soon as people start doing this, like this is why it's happened so much more. Is because as soon as they start doing it and they realize they can get away with it, well, then more of them are going to start doing it too. Because why would they not start doing it? They just want to do more and more and more and more and more, right? Like that's it. That's the way things go.
In the legal world, so maybe this recent development with this investigation will be the powder keg for similar cases, and I will be looking forward to seeing what comes from this and if there are more people being punished, specifically the influencers. That being said, the information of the arrests and the method by which they were carried out with such an in-depth investigation by so many arms of the federal government has already got NFT scammers absolutely fucking shook, including some of our...
Oh, absolutely, because a lot of them know that they're dead to rights. Like they know they're dead to rights because they probably had conversations about it online. They probably weren't using like a fucking like a VPN. That like and the reason like they never like why would they do this? Because they thought they'd be okay. Now again, it was naive to believe that, but you know, didn't happen to anybody else. Why would they think it's gonna happen to them? So yeah, that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be his main focus now, and he already won. Love it. Well, it depends, right? I mean. Like, let me see. A possibility they didn't know? Well, the thing is, yes, there are some of them that did not know. But, like, I'm assuming a lot of them probably talked in Discord messages, etc. There are, like, phone records. And, like, they can pull all of that stuff. Like, the government can pull everything like that. Doesn't matter if you delete it or anything. And that's it. So, like, they were doing it out in the open without really paying attention, and so now they're fucking scared because they know that if they get focused, they're going to immediately have evidence against them.
Favorites on the channel like Lana Rhodes, who decided to rug pull her fans in late January 2022 for $1.5 million along with her team of scammers. The reason Lana gave for this was that people were being mean to her on social media, so she decided to just take all their money and vanish from the project. Doesn't matter if you were personally mean, one or two other people were, so that means you deserve to get scammed. And then of course she did one of my personal favorite moves when you get caught stealing money from your fans, which is to turn around and say, how dare you talk about me scamming you when Russia is invading Ukraine, you absolute piece of shit. How dare you care about me scamming you? Think of the people in Ukraine. However, one day after this DOJ document surfaced, who'd have guessed? Lana and the team are back on social media. Quote, "We aren't done yet."
Oh my god. Oh my god, why are you doing this? Like, what is this? It's the shamelessness of it, man. The absolute fucking shamelessness of it. Scared Show, the thing is, like, listen, If they want to get into, yeah, she's very smart. No, people are not like, listen, being a content creator or like being a porn star or something like that, like it does not necessarily mean that you know a lot about legal things, you know anything about crypto, etc. That's why you shouldn't just go take like random people's opinion for things, right? Try to look for somebody that knows what they're talking about to get your opinion for something. She already does shameful stuff. She doesn't care. It does. I don't think porn, like I would much rather her do porn than this.
Most recent communication on the Twitter account prior to that was on January 24th, which was one day after they transferred all the money out the smart contract for the CryptoSys NFT project and decided to just say fuck you and walk off into the sunset 1.5 milli richer.
Why would they not?
Then of course they're just gaslighting people on social media, acting as if they've never gone anywhere. So
it's like it's never happened. It's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about, rug pull? Like, what do you mean? No, just keep putting money in. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's totally okay.
Spent the last 9 days trying to speed run their roadmap from the initial sale so as to make sure they adhere to the Department of Justice very clear messaging that if you promise things are going to happen after you take people's money and then don't do them, you are in fact committing fraud. So, prepare the ass. It honestly makes me so happy, as you can probably tell, to just see these people scrambling so hard after this document surfaced. Now, they even showed themselves moving some of the ill-gotten gains between wallets on March 13th and said, quote, to clear confusion, since some people just think we came out of nowhere, the royalty money was released about 2 weeks ago, and Lana has been working on the airdrop artwork since. Picture of the funds landing, end quote. Now, I don't know what they mean by royalty money, because why would you need to wait for royalty money until mid-March?
It's like, this is what's so astonishing to me about this whole thing. Is like, who the fuck sees a cryptocurrency from a porn star and buys it? Who the fuck does this? I mean, like, it's like, how at a certain point, it's like there's always going to be scammers and like people that are going to find a way for you to like waste your money. It's like, how the fuck do you make that decision? Just stupid as hell, man. I can't believe it.
You had all the money from OpenSea and dispersed it between 5 different wallets on January 23rd, 2022. Okay? They didn't need to wait 2 months to do anything. And I have no idea how they think lying publicly about something that's so easy to prove will result in anything positive for them when their actions clearly show they did in fact scam these people.
It doesn't matter, because a lot of people will not see that. They will just see the post and they will believe it at face value. Like, that's honestly the truth. It sounds crazy, but I think it's true.
And it's not just that it's easy to prove for somebody who knows what they're looking for, or law enforcement who...
It's about, it's like the Nigerian prince scam, where like they send you an email and like everything is intentionally misspelled, so it automatically weeds out anybody with an IQ above 80. So the only people that you get that bite are the people that are the really, really dumb ones.
You have access to everything. It's that you as a layman watching this video right now, if you know nothing about cryptocurrency, within 10 minutes you could find this transaction of them taking that money and then look at their tweet and just be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Wait a minute.
They were so blatant about this that OpenSea, the popular NFT platform, the most popular one, even removed their NFTs from the website because they were like, this is a scam, guys. Lana Rhoades then deleted all of her TikToks.
It's like these websites don't want to be associated with that either, right? They just want to make money on the transactions and have this happen. Like, it makes every website look bad whenever they have this fucking bullshit NFT shit going across their website. Like, why would you want that on there either? So of course they're gonna get rid of it. It makes sense.
Was promoting her own NFT project. Pretty weird that, right? She deleted her Twitter, and of course the Discord server for the CryptoSys project was also nuked, as you can see here. It's open again now, but all the channels used to communicate and those that had evidence of the scam have since been deleted, and it just doesn't make sense that if you were legit, you would do this, especially deleting your own promotion of your own project. So how fitting is it that on the worst day of the year, April 1st, the CryptoSys rug pull project completed their roadmap? What a coincidence that it only started being worked on again the day after everyone found out the feds are taking these NFT scams seriously. This is the most pathetic scramble I've ever seen, honestly, and I hope the federal government are as stupid as you think everybody else is, because this is not fooling anybody. And I know I'm repeating myself here a little bit, but just read what they posted here on their Discord announcements. Quote, now that the funds have finally been released and sent to Lana's team. Bro, The blockchain, much like Shakira's hips, do not lie. We can see you moving the money around, you fucking donut. The funniest part, of course, is that this...
I feel like, yeah, obviously, people can just look at it and they're going to see what's actually going on. But here's the thing, is that most people are never going to look at it beyond the surface level. They're never going to go and say, wait a minute, let's look into this myself. No, that's never going to happen. They're just going to sit around and they're going to sit there and fucking, oh, I guess it's okay then. And then there's a lot of people too who are, it's like they get scammed and they don't want to admit that they got scammed, so they buy into it even harder. Here's a tip. It's harder to convince somebody that they've been fooled than it is to fool them. Think about that. People never want to admit that they're stupid. And they'll always go back and they'll try to rationalize it and find out a reason why it's not scammed. They want to believe it'll work? Well, no, it's like they don't want to believe that they got taken advantage of. They don't want to get scammed, right? That's it. They'll double down every time. So that's why you see people defending it too, is because of that. NFTs aren't inherently a scam. I've made money selling some myself. Look, there are a lot of NFT scams going around. I would recommend, if you're going to do anything like that, to do as much research as you possibly can. And if you see a NFT project that is new and up and coming and it's being promoted by an influencer who is famous for getting fucked in the ass, literally, don't put your money in it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do that with your money. Stop it. Don't do that with your money, man. That's all I'm asking you. I don't care if you want to invest in like a legitimate crypto coin, right? And like you think that like, oh, you want to use this and try to like trade these and do whatever. That's totally fucking fine. I don't care. But do not for a fucking second sit around and tell me that like like most of these things are not scams. It's like they are. Like a lot of these are scams. That's why Steam literally banned NFT games. Why do you think they're getting banned? It's because there's too many of them that are scams. Better invest in your Lost Ark character? Unironically, yes. It is better to invest in the Lost Ark character. Because here's why. Is that every single dollar that I spend on my Lost Ark character, I'm going to tell you why, is that I know for a fact I'm never getting that money back. Like, whether I spend it on Greater Honor Leapstones, solar fucking things, silver because I'm trying the whale, or anything else, a new necklace, it doesn't matter because I will never get that money out of the game. And that, in my opinion, is much more healthy than trying to invest in something that you either think or are not sure is authentic or not, with the promise in your mind of maybe in the future I'll be able to make money off of this. There is never even a possibility that I will make any money off of the game, right? Yeah, you're actually getting something back. Yes, exactly. You kind of get return for your investment in Lost Ark. What I'm saying is that there is never any potential for any of the money that you make in Lost Ark to ever turn into money. You are spending that money and it is gone no matter what. That is a huge difference.
God, he's so insanely cooked.
Sell the account?
That they're all reacting.
Oh, no. I mean, like, again, like, I think that as soon as you go outside of the scope of what is allowed, I mean, anything can be an investment, right? I mean, shit. Anything can be an investment. You can do anything, right? But I'm talking about within the confines of the rules.
Rocket emojis and the goat emoji to this news. Your greatest of all
that's
time.
Good. Smart.
You're back after scamming us because you're scared of going to jail. On March 29th, I released a video talking about Bored Bunny and what I discovered about them. The Bored Bunny NFT project had been promoted by people such as Floyd Money Mayweather, Jake Paul, and David Dobrik. And not only had the Bored Bunny scammed the audiences of these people while paying them under the table, they did so 3 different times. Bored Bunny.
Well, this is the thing, right? Is like the reason why, and this is what happens, is that like Jake Paul and like David Dobrik, I don't know which one came first, but the odds are after they got the first 2 guys, the third of the 3 was a lot easier to get because like they say, well, we have these other people that are authentic. So, you know, a lot of times people let their guard down and they're like, okay, well, I mean, if Floyd Mayweather's promoting this, it's got to be legit. I mean, Floyd's a legit actual boxer celebrity. So like, it's not like he'd promote a scam. And then so they promote it. And like, that's how you get people in. That's how you get people in. It's the bandwagon effect. Well, yeah, it lets people let their guard down. Floyd does everything for money. Yeah, but like it's not like that's different. Like that's not the same thing. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Surely it's no. It's like, for example, this is not an unreasonable conclusion for people to come to. It's still stupid, but it's understandable. Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, you have to understand what the methods that people use are in order to deconstruct how to stop them, in order to deconstruct their efforts. Does that make sense?
Scam. Bored Bad Bunny. Scam. Mutant Bored Bunny. Scam. I then went through and did a little bit of digging and linked these 3 NFT scams to more NFT scams. Ancient Cats Club and Crazy
good.
Camels.
It's turtles all the way down.
In a handful of months has stolen over $21.1 million. The prices of all these NFTs have collapsed. The promotion from all these social media stars were undisclosed and have since been deleted in most cases. And the money all transferred out of the contracts with no delivery on any roadmaps or promises. Classic rug pull example, and again, in the words of the Department of Justice, wire fraud, a federal crime. Now, shout out to Zach XBT on Twitter, who was also looking into the Bored Bunny thing, and he put together a great Twitter thread on March 31st, which concisely explains the situation, the people involved, and he went in depth on the on-chain analysis showing how much money was raised across all 5 of these scams. He concluded that not only did they scam their audience, they even rigged the NFTs, which should be randomized so that they could give the influencers the correct NFTs. And also,
that's a good
he
idea.
puts together some information on who exactly might be behind this $20 million team of perpetual fraudsters. And if you think this is bad, look at the connections people have made between other scams and wallets associated with these 5 projects.
Well, of course they're going to do another scam, right? It's like, wow, we made $1 million. Let's do that again. Yeah. I think you're funny. I like your content, but you changed your mind and opinion so much I can't take anything you say serious anymore. What? Banned? Yep, you're done. Nope. Not going to even think about it. Not even think about it. So here's the thing, right? Is that somebody can go, yeah, he's just banned. Who's he talking? I don't know. I think, again, there are a lot of people that are stupid that don't understand things, and they think that it's a different point whenever I express something differently because they're just dumb. That's all there is to it. And anyway, why would they not go and scam again? Why would they not do another scam right after that? And how is this different than investing in the stock market? Because a lot of the people that are promoting the stock market, and there's more accountability. I think that's why there's more accountability, and that's why trust matters. Because there's way more. I think that's the biggest reason. Like, is that there's more accountability. Yeah, this is much more unregulated, and in my opinion, I think this is never going to go away until like this, unless like this stuff completely falls out of favor, which I don't think we're really near that happening yet. Is because what are they going to do? Eventually, what's going to happen is that these projects are just going to exist in like some like random country that doesn't extradite to America. So like these scams are going to happen, and then there's not going to be any sort of like trouble that these people are going to get in. You see what I mean? So like that's what, like, people have to be accountable for this, because at a certain point there's not going to be anything the government can do. Like, they're not going to, like, let's say somebody does a scam like this in China. What do you think the chances are that China is going to extradite somebody because they scammed people in NFTs in America? I bet China's not going to do it. I bet they don't give a fuck. Why would they? Let's say they do it in Russia. Let's say, like, especially nowadays, right? Let's say some Russian guy does this and he scams a bunch of people. What do you think? Putin's going to fucking extradite him to the U.S. so they can put him in jail? No. So you've got to be accountable for this yourself. Yeah, you've got to be accountable for what you do with your fucking money, because there's going to be a point the government can't fucking save you. The government's not going to help you, and it's only you and what you can do. Crypto's illegal in China. China's executes scamming billionaires. Yeah, but they do it, not the U.S. government. They're the ones that do it. That's the difference. And like, hey, like, let's say China's not a good example. Think about 50 other countries that don't extradite to America too.
I've just talked about. These are all project names that have been rug pulled and linked back to the people we're discussing
you have
here
to be
for
personally
already
accountable.
$20 million confirmed. So how far does
these
this
will never go away.
How big is this group, and how many times are they going to do this and still get away with it? The reason I'm talking about Board Bunny is because, of course, Board Bunny are back. They made their glorious return on March 29th, 5 days after the DOJ document surfaced. And that's strange, right? Strange timing. They didn't post anything on social since February 17th, but they are back now. Who'd have guessed? To quote them, "Hi, Board Bunny members. Hope you're all well. I come back to you to give you some news."
This is always the best. This was the original Twitter ratio. It's whenever something had more comments than likes. And like you can tell if something has 114 likes and 114 comments, that means that whatever the fuck this guy said, people are pissed off about it.
About myself and some explications.
That was the original L plus ratio.
Primarily the reason of my absence this last month was that I've been through a lot of emails, messages in private that I received. Many people have threatened me with death. And especially they qualified me as a scammer without any reason.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Now, of course, don't condone that behavior. Don't be sending threats to people, full stop. If you got scammed...
Listen, if you scam people for their real money on a crypto scam, they're going to send you death threats. Like, they would. Like, that's just what's going to happen. Like, I like, yes, oh, they shouldn't do it. Oh, they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't do that. Yeah, but they will. Yes, but they will. They will, and that's just going to happen. And it's just, it's true, but it's still too far. Oh, it's way too far. Yeah, absolutely. But it's like people have no other recourse. What do you expect them to do? You expect them to just, like, sit down there, lay down, and get to have their money stolen? No, of course they're going to fucking do something about it. Absolutely not.
That sucks. Report it to the authorities. Move on. Don't commit a crime yourself. But to say you vanished because you were reading emails, I read emails as well. I don't disappear for a month. And on top of that, you only start getting these threats after you scammed people. Then, of course, to say that there's no evidence of you scamming, you are the evidence of you scamming. Don't worry for all the people. He's taking care of it himself with the legal team.
So the reason why they disappear, this is actually one thing that a lot of content creators do, is that they get involved in like this really, really big controversy and like, you know, all this bad stuff happens. They stop making content for a few months. People stop talking about them. They forget about them. They move on. The person comes back post-controversy and nothing matters. This happens all the time. It happens with like on Twitch, it happens on YouTube, it happens everywhere, right? The cycle continues because people's attention spans are really short, and most people, like just the way that social media works with like algorithms is that as soon as somebody is no longer generating views to talk about them, a lot of people are going to stop talking about them. Like Phantom Ward, there's a lot of people, yeah. And that's the thing, Ice hasn't streamed in 10 months, yeah. But like if Ice comes back, for example, it didn't work for Arcanum. Well, I thought Arcanum is still streaming now. Like you're going to lose people. Like, I mean, absolutely, it's going to have an effect on you. But there's a lot of other people that, like, they stop streaming for a while. They come back, and it's totally fine. Like, for someone, yeah, he is. It's like, what's this here? Ice is on the run. I don't think he's on the run or anything like that. All I'm really trying to say is that this is a popular strategy that a lot of content creators do, is that as soon as there's big drama about them, they just stop streaming for a while and they come back and people move on and they don't talk about it anymore. This happens all the time.
And I assume this means people such as myself who are calling the scam out are being threatened legally here, which I've had happen to me a dozen times at this stage since I started covering cryptocurrency. Everyone always threatens you with legal action, and it's nothing out of the ordinary for these clowns, but I'll let you know how that one goes because so far it's been all bark and no bite. But then he also claims he paid back $600,000. Bear in mind they stole 21 million, proven probably much more than that. Apparently they used $400,000 as refunds for a hack, which nobody can confirm with any blockchain transactions and no testimony of anyone receiving any money.
That's
which
convenient.
Means didn't happen. I don't know why you're talking about something people can prove.
He just says it like, yeah, it just means it didn't happen. Like, yeah, obviously that's what it is, right? And I just, it's so astonishing to me that people will keep buying into these things. I think that the problem is that the fantasy is so strong, is that they want to believe it so much that they will write off any logical thought that they would have just so they can make sense out of something like this. Like they want to believe it because they don't want to believe they've been scammed. They want to believe that they can be rich too and they're going to be wealthy and, have the things that they want. So they try so hard to believe these things. It's like a religion in a way.
And then another 200,000 USD to, quote, sweep the floor, which in Moonbro speak means buy all the NFTs at the current lowest price, which should push the price up. And again, this hasn't happened. You can literally look at the OpenSea activity and see that it hasn't. So I honestly don't know why you're lying about things that people can easily see. Then, despite the claims that they're back and everything would now be going according to plan, just 2 days later, March 31st, the supposed owner of Bored Bunny held a vote on Discord to hand the project over to one of the mods. This, of course, doesn't come with any of the stolen money, which was intended to...
You know what that reminds me of? Is just like, what the end of Looney Tunes or like a cartoon where like the fucking the bandit bank robber with a long twirly mustache says ha ha and he runs away. He's got a big bag of money and he just goes over the hill and he's gone. That's exactly what it seems like to me. Yeah, Yosemite Sam. Yep. Beep beep. That's all, folks. We're done.
To have impact on the future of the project. And in theory, of course, would have raised the value for initial investors. That's why people buy these things as an initial investment.
Oh, this is the guy that needs $10,000. This is the guy that needs to, he's the one that needs $10,000 for me to give it to him, and then he'll give me $1 million.
An initial investment. They think that if the team keeps developing things, keeps doing things, it will push the price up. And when they don't, and when they take all the money, it bottoms the price out, and then they lose all the money they invested. This is how...
Yeah, one of the things that people don't really talk about a lot is like a lot of these scams affect old people. It's because they don't really understand technology very well, and so they also like they're not savvy with it. They just get taken advantage of. It's sad. It's like the same as like. You watch like one of these conspiracy conventions or whatever. A lot of the people there are like old people. It's because they just don't like they're not like their brains aren't wired to be discerning, and they're not wired to like automatically think that these types of things are untrue because they grew up in a time whenever information wasn't as freely transmissible, and they didn't automatically like disbelieve it. And also like older people, like you lose cognitive function, especially whenever you're like fucking 70, 80 years old. It's harder for you to believe or to understand things, to think that well. It's just a fucking truth, right? Like it sucks. It's actually sad. But like, yeah, that's really what it is. Stop doing the anti-scam stuff because his grandma got scammed. Yeah, that's a great example right there.
How these things work. Now, this is a new common tactic I've been seeing in the NFT scam world, which is popping up all the time. The original team steals all the money and then just hands the project over to the mods and acts as if this is somehow okay. They must be thinking, at least if somebody starts developing something towards what we said we were doing, we're off scot-free and we can just ride off into the sunset with the money. And in almost all circumstances, for now, that's exactly what's happened.
Yes.
So to answer the original question, what has changed or what impact has this investigation and arrest of two unknown small-time scammers had?
Nothing.
For the NFT rug pull space? To summarize, it's scaring the scammers. It will 100% dissuade people who were planning similar scams.
Completely disagree. I completely disagree. Because now, here's the thing. Now that you have precedent, you know what you can get around. Because this is another thing, is that if there are no rules, you have to watch out and worry about everything. But if there are rules, you know exactly how you can get around them. And on top of that, scammers are going to get smarter. Yeah, there's millions of dollars, billions of dollars behind this. So you think they're going to just like, oh, wow, hey, guys, they're trying to catch us. I think we should stop doing crime. I'm going to drive by Taco Bell and see if they're still hiring. I think it's like $13 an hour. It's not too bad. No, that's not going to happen. They're just going to do it in countries that don't have extradition laws. They're going to do it in ways that are more opaque, that are harder to tell what's going on. There's going to be more obfuscation between who's actually promoting a project and who's actually making money off of it. And you're just going to have this more and more and more. And what I'm saying is that this will never go away. Nigerian prince scams are still happening, and they've been going on for 20 years. That what I'm trying to get at here is that I really hope that you guys, anybody that's watching this, right, if it's like Twitch here, or if they're going to watch it whenever it gets put on YouTube, please, please, please fucking be smart about your money, because there's nobody that's going to save you. At the end of the day, even if you get saved the first time or the second time, eventually you will lose your money and you won't get it back.
And it will make some projects incriminate themselves further with more evidence, such as the two that I've just highlighted as examples. And it will also spread the awareness that they are not immune and there can be consequences. To reiterate, if you have information or were involved in one of these rug pulls, report it. If you're a victim of this, report it to the authorities. It does work. The Frosty's NFT scam was only investigated due to reports from people that have been defrauded. So spread the word and let's see these people held accountable for their actions.
Absolutely.
I think the biggest thing we could see for this would be consequences for these massive social media personalities and celebrities, and that would have a much higher impact. But this is just a start, hopefully.
It's going to be really hard to like pin shit on them. It's going to be really, really hard. I don't know if it's going to happen, to be honest with you. Yeah, I really don't know. Like, it's going to be really hard because, like, promoting something, for example, like if you promote a company that's a scam and you don't know it's a scam, there's a lot of times, like, the people that are promoting it don't get in trouble. They're only going to really get fucked if, like, they can pull logs and find out that they were aware of it.